Fox 5 Live Zone, obviously following breaking news out of the Middle East, where Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced earlier today that he had ordered powerful strikes in the Gaza Strip immediately in retaliation for what Israeli officials say was a Hamas attack on Israeli forces. Joining us now to discuss this and so much more is Mr. Harley Lippman, foreign policy expert back here on the Live Zone. Harley, truly appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us with the latest. I got to say, this is somewhat of a surprise. Would you agree?
Yes and no. Let me first move over and get a little more centered for you, because this is breaking news and everything's just started today. Yes and no. Yes, mostly it is a surprise because I thought the truce would hold up, because everybody's exhausted by this war. Everybody. Palestinian civilians have suffered enough. The Israeli society is just tired of this, and the world wants to see this ended. And President Trump did come through with an historic breakthrough by getting the fighting to stop, at least for a temporary period of time, as we can see. And he got the hostages out, which is a miracle and is extraordinary. But that said, you know, Hamas is Hamas. They are a cult. It's a radical Islamist group. The second phase was them to disarm, and obviously they're not disarming.
You know, Harley, yet again, I sit here in awe and sit here in amazement that we are back at the point where this ceasefire is somewhat fragile right now. What do you suspect will happen in the near future? Will it remain in place and/or will it come to an end?
It's a great question. I think it'll remain in place, because I think that the ingredients that created the ceasefire are stronger than the ingredients that want to unwind the ceasefire. What do I mean by that is President Trump got the commitment of Qatar, Turkey, and Egypt, who are the main supporters of Hamas, to let Hamas know that they lost. They're not completely defeated, but they did lose. And that if they were to continue fighting, it's going to be far worse for them, because Israel will now take Gaza City and will continue the war against Hamas till the end. So we are counting on Turkey, Qatar, and Egypt to go back to Hamas and make sure that they disarm. This is going to be extremely difficult, because for Hamas to disarm means they've given up. It's over. They're now not relevant anymore. And to tell that to a radical Islamic organization is extremely difficult. But this is what it takes to make peace. And I know President Trump is distracted with doing many wonderful things around the world in Asia now. He's working on peace in Ukraine. But he did send Marco Rubio and Vance to Israel. And I think the goal is to make sure that this truce is sustainable, because I don't think anybody really wants any more war except for Hamas, because they want to destroy the infidel and they want to destroy Jews and Christianity. And this is where they're beginning.
Yeah, well, Mr. Lippman, it's no secret when we've seen an attack, it has in essence been tit for tat, meaning I think we would both be fools to sit here and state that we do not believe Hamas will retaliate in any way, form, or fashion.
Well, my understanding is they attacked Israeli soldiers. So I wouldn't call it tit for tat, because that, I think, is not an accurate picture of what happened. I don't think Israel has any motivation to go after Hamas. President Trump made it very clear to Bibi Netanyahu not to do that. Bibi Netanyahu depends on Trump, cannot risk offending President Trump. So the actions would have to be very clear and blatant that Hamas violated this agreement for Israel to now attack them back. So this goes to the heart of any agreement. Two sides have to honor it. Hamas is not honoring it, and they're attacking Israel. What does anyone expect Israel to do? To say tit for tat implies an equivalency, a kind of moral equivalent. There is a bad actor in this and a good actor. The bad actor is Hamas, who broke the agreement. The good actor is Israel, that's been honoring the agreement. I'll also add that Hamas has also broken the agreement by trying to provide dead hostage bodies that they're disguising as Palestinians who've been killed. In other words, they're not giving back the bodies that they promised. And it's hard to believe that they don't know where they are. Hamas knows the value of these bodies. They would carry dead Israelis from Israel into Gaza. It's not easy carrying a heavy, big man who's dead. They did it because they know the value of even dead Israelis. So for them to say they don't know where they are is very suspect.
Mr. Lippman, it is no secret, President Trump is currently touring Asia. To your point, as you stated, he is doing many things throughout the world. The question I would pose to you is, do you think that the U.S. involvement with regard to President Trump getting involved and intervening yet again needs to happen in order to make sure peace stays within that region?
Absolutely, it does need to happen. President Trump singularly made this happen. Nobody else did, or I believe could have made this happen. So it really is up to him. He needs to get back on the phone, if he's not doing it already, I'm sure he is, with Erdogan of Turkey, with the Emir of Qatar, with President Sisi of Egypt, and in no uncertain terms, making sure that they stop Hamas and that they keep this truce. And I will add, another way to look at this is that let's not look for perfection. That, to use your words now in a good way, tit for tat, if you will, there may be some violations here and there. You may go 3 steps forward and 1 step backward, and then another 2 steps forward and 2 steps backwards. But as long as directionally this is holding, this may be the best we can get out of it.
Yet again, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announcing earlier today that he ordered powerful strikes in Gaza Strip immediately in retaliation for what Israeli officials say was a Hamas attack on Israeli forces. Mr. Lippman, I know this was last minute. Truly appreciate your time and you making time for us with the latest and your expertise and commentary surrounding all things within that region.
My pleasure, anytime.
All right, folks. We'll take